Alright, Jerome Delboda here, and this is my first major audio drama. Well, actually, first major, I would say. And I actually wrote this, and the one I did before I was about 10, and that was kind of about 15 minutes long, and not really something I'm planning on sharing publicly at this point. But this one was my first, I felt, serious one, and I got to do it with some friends, so I'm going to listen to it and give you my director's commentary.
So this is the infamous Shady Lair.
Yes, a place of many opportunities.
Kind of get right into it here.
And in our case, it has just what we're looking for.
But it is an evil place. You will not find a greater stronghold of crime, mindless brutality, and all kinds of lawlessness. We must guard our steps.
I was kind of for abrupt beginnings back then, I guess, because it just starts with, half of it is my writing, half of it I think is her voice there. It just is kind of
This is the place where Faith said
startling, especially if you have the volume up high. But this is kind of
it is customary for
like the Mos Eisley spaceport. I know I'm killing that, killing it. I mean slaughtering it, not killing it. Killing it is good, slaughtering it is bad. Explain that to me. But it's kind of that idea. I had the idea of this hill overlooking this town, which I codenamed Shady Lair for some reason. I was going to rename it. Never did rename it. I actually just left it that way because we just started recording and it went there. But anyway, it was on this ridge, and I imagined they would walk down because Pilgrim's Progress is known for its great walking conversations. And so I thought, okay, it would be nice to have them walk and talk, profitable conversation, as we would say for Pilgrim's Progress. So this, believe it or not, took about 3 weeks to record, and 1 week to sound design, because this is the first scene. We did the I actually don't remember how we did the scenes, but we spent 3 weeks on this first one because I was actually in the process of writing it as we were recording.
I'm surprised, since you had one of the most notable bounty hunters living in stupidity.
What? We did?
Yes, William Warcraft.
Oh, him. Mother used to have problems with him. What does he do?
Mother used to have problems with him. That's when I was writing Mariana and sort of... I guess I was going for 1950s English. It's kind of more formal, and so that's why the dialogue might seem a little bit stiff here. But kind of listening to this again, I thought, the way I work now is I'm sort of just writing laboriously, just writing, and I don't get to hear what it's going to sound like. And a lot of times I would actually tweak the following scenes based on what we would do in recording, or sometimes adjusting lines. And I now know that you would do that in improv. You don't have to necessarily change the script, but that was my learning curve.
Seems to have more skill than her brother. No offense, Mr. Great Grace.
None taken.
Faith trained under Master Zoe. He has a deadly style, mostly because he's so short.
Yeah, at 4'5", you've got to create some advantage.
I had some interesting notes in the script there to generate the laughter there, but
her style and his don't match.
Listening to this, I kind of wish I still had that same process of writing
These rocks are like nails.
And recording at the same time, just that energy that it gave me to keep the ideas fresh and just move things along. I think a little bit faster than I have been lately.
They were placed here to hedge up the way for travelers that come here by.
There are advantages to writing everything out first.
I'll say.
So this scene here, if I can back up, well, this is one scene, but as they're walking down the ridge, there's this gravel with these really sharp rocks and stuff.
Wait here too long.
And I had the idea that the rocks poked through the shoes. Now I know that's probably not possible. I really didn't think that one through, and certainly nobody called me on that. So apparently it was good enough that they were able to suspend disbelief and believe that they just poked their souls through with soles of their feet
Faith and I
with
built our little refuge on the
sharp
outskirts of
rocks
Shark's Cove, like my parents, and have lived
through the
normal
soles of
lives
shoes,
there.
which must be pretty hard.
Well, bouncing bad guys has been everyday life for us.
So you got married and built your house like a bunker?
Not exactly, but I guess bunker is more or less accurate. Though we built it before we were married, just after we got engaged, in fact.
When were you engaged?
We were fairly young.
Yes.
By your tone, I sensed that they were too young.
Perhaps we were. Others have said as much. But I never regretted the timing of our union.
How old were you
16.
when you got married?
No, we got married at 18.
That's still young.
It was an arranged marriage.
No, I'm
The only
kidding.
difference was that we actually wanted to be together.
Funny story.
It's
I
not
was
that we
about
were short
18
on
when I wrote
patience,
this,
but
and
there
when
were
you're
rumors about our
when we recorded this.
close
So
relationship. Some people believe
yeah,
it's
it was
because
not
it actually was.
in any
They-
way a wish or a
Nobody's
self-fulfilling
cutting the right
prophecy.
Someone chanced to see them hugging, and a whole nest of rumors hatched, matched, and
I just thought it would make an
while the
interesting
truth was
story.
Still evaluating its counterpart.
In other words, the rumors spread quicker than the truth.
Yeah, I got that.
So, to avoid bringing shame to our king, they decided to get married and end the suspicion. And it worked?
It's
No.
one of the things I
Faith
did
was a
with the
little
sound
too liberal
effects.
for the conservative community I
In
grew
addition
up
to
in.
footsteps, I had
Though
kind
she
of
was
a
perfectly balanced.
wind ambience,
They caused many
some
problems
noise,
for
I
us,
guess white
which I
noise you
believe
call it,
Faith is
really
already
soft in there,
released.
and then
Yes, but I
birds,
think she
as you
has
can hear the birds, and
sufficiently cleared her name.
and through
We wish.
the course of
It
this
makes me angry to hear some
8-minute
of
long
what
scene,
they say about
I
his way of raising
I panned the birds from
patience.
left to right, and then from right to left again, like they were traveling, and then even changed
True
uh,
justice
the
and
bird
peace
scheme,
cannot be known
if I can
from
call it that,
apart from
in
Christ.
certain places. Just things I thought would add a little bit more realism to the scene.
Bravely spoken. Abiding in Christ is a moment-by-moment experience which few understand fully.
If the truth be spoken, brother, I believe that it is an experience of progressive understanding.
Speak on.
Well, it is just like any relationship.
So we have right here a
Take you
pretty
and me, for
typical
example.
Pilgrim's Progress
We
like
can each hold
discussion,
our own in the field, but together we can put a city to flight.
or exegesis,
But we
not
did
sure
not
which.
know this until we
I
began
gotta
to
stop
work
using these
together.
big words, huh?
And even then we did not know it until a situation arose in which we needed to work together in this way.
Well thought out.
Mm-hmm. So we don't
Yeah,
even
so that-
realize the full potential of our union with Christ until we need it most.
Nay, until we see that we need it most. We need it all the time, but rarely do we see our need.
Do you
So there
mean
we
to
have the
say
birds
that we don't
panning in
need
the
him any
background.
more on this mission than in our daily interaction with each other?
Love
That
this
is
piece of
exactly
music
what I
here.
mean. Think on these things.
I will.
And more
I actually
importantly,
extended the intro because it was too short,
Your
and I
life
made it a
will be
little
much
bit
fuller
longer.
when you realize your need of Christ and take him with you everywhere.
Everywhere?
Yes. Having Jesus as a constant companion benefits the Christian immeasurably. Not only does he become your strength in times of obvious trouble, but also the guide of your thoughts and the streamliner, if that's a word, of all your business, your daily activities. Try him, and you will find that you will not regret it.
There's a little Easter egg
shall.
sound in there, which I don't know if was obvious, but it's kind of like
yes, this is it.
that
Yes.
sound. So
Remember, we are not only
I just
here
had
to
fun.
pick up
For fun, I
supplies.
hid it in there.
Gather what intelligence you
Um,
can. Well,
I don't know that
Yes,
anyone would
sir.
actually
Right.
hear it,
Amos,
but
come with me.
now that since I know
Yes,
it's
sir.
there, I can hear it each
Come on,
time.
ASL.
So
Right behind you, sir.
let's
she was
see
kind
if
of
we can't
smiling when
find
she said
anything
that.
to improve your shoes. A new pair of shoes? That might be a better idea. I've seen some shoes.
I like these fade out lines. When we were recording, David, who does J.U., he was sort of saying that might be a better idea we have, because that's kind of how we did fade outs back in the day. But I said, no, you don't need to. I'll just adjust it later, and I think it came out pretty well, bringing the music up. All right, scene 2. So I got some really nice crowd sounds
Yes?
here, and
could get some of these shoes? Which one?
it's kind of like an.
These.
Well, it kind of sounds like a mall, but I guess I was going for an
Yes, I
open
believe
air
these would
market,
serve us well.
and
Two pairs. Don't we all need them? Paul and I have hard soles built into our
so sort of the
Jerusalem steel
intrigue
boots.
of the
The steel doesn't begin at the end at the toe.
intrigue part of the story here.
Let's check out.
Ah, Mr. Jehu.
Hello, Marcus.
Growing tender
Shopkeeper,
souls
that
these
was
days,
that was an interesting character. We were just
Ah, yes.
doing stuff, playing around, and David just launched into this, I guess, imitation Arab voice or something, and it's kind of like that, but I actually ended up raising the pitch because he wasn't able to duplicate what he did before, but that was a classic moment there.
What are we doing?
Selecting one of these speeders.
Okay,
But
so
these
now
are
we're
mini
underground in a mall,
transports.
These are our
and
shopping carts.
not really, but it sounds like it. I used a mall and some,
Shopping?
I got this track and I put the effect, I think was liquid speakers over it, and, or maybe that was another thing I used, liquid speakers. Anyway, I made it sound like it was on mall speakers, and we have Paul and ASL getting into this speeder, which this kind of caused me a lot of problems.
This is where the fun begins.
Where are we going?
I was told it was too fantastical.
Yes,
So,
but I
but
didn't
what I
realize
use here is actually a BMW M3
You were all excited about shopping.
and a jet.
That's where it is.
No, I
Yeah,
wasn't.
probably not the best choice if I had to do it over. I would not do.
Now I know you're
The jet engine sound is good, but
fingernail polish.
I'd probably lower it a little bit if I was doing it again.
What?
I'm joking, SL.
Oh.
Yep, there's the M3 sound. Kind of a fade out here as well. And I pitch adjusted the jet so that the pitch would go up with the sound of the BMW. Alright, so we're back outside in the open air market with Jehu and Amos.
Exactly what are we looking for?
It's supposed to be tapping melons. I think what we did was I had a softball in my room at the time and had him tap the softball with his knuckle.
Ah, yes, let's take this one. Okay. I'm sorry, Amos. What were you asking? What kind of intelligence are we looking for? Look, sir. Information on how to disable Warcraft's tech at least long enough so we can get more done with our...
That sound startled him. I pressed a note on a keyboard. I was going to replace it with something later, but
And the one Paul and I...
no, this was kind of very guerrilla audio drama.
Gentlemen.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's
That scene we had to
just
do a
that
couple
if you're not
times
going to
because I
buy
had
anything,
the
I'd
direction was
just as soon see
basically
you on your way.
they're startled but
Oh,
not too
we're
much.
buying.
They
We were
don't
just discussing.
yell too loud because they're
It's an
men
awfully
after
long
all.
time to be discussing melons.
And I think it came out
Yes,
pretty well.
You see,
It's
the
one of my
quality
favorite
melons
parts,
for us
definitely.
is a very important thing.
Amos's
Requires some
explanation.
serious delineation.
What?
What I mean is, we want to make sure they're completely...
Spare it, Amos. Just give him his money.
Yes, sir.
He can go on and on with these things.
I can tell. You have an enjoyable day, Mr. Great Grace. Uh-oh.
Yeah, we'd better wrap things up.
So the idea is that he figures out who they
Well,
are and
that's it
why
from the
they're
shop.
there, but
Come on, SL.
if I had to do it over, I think I would make it a little more obvious in the writing of it,
Yes, but he didn't say to
how that was a problem, that
You have learned
the
ways
shopkeeper
of
knew
Now I
his
will show you the ways of the human.
knew his name, and
I did the same
it
thing
wasn't a
with my
problem that
father's
the other
name.
guy knew his name, so
And I learned
yeah,
that he
it's...
meant exactly what he said.
So where's our next stop?
Now this is the sound I
ahead,
would use
3
for a
blocks.
speeder. It's a
See?
lot more
looks like a dead
smooth
end.
and
At the end of which is a shop.
sci-fi-ish.
Marcus Lucas.
Is that your brother's shop?
He and a friend, yes.
I think this is the bass sound I would use. Oh, there's Paul's intercom.
Paul, I think we've been found out.
Are you positive?
As much as we can be. You'll need to wrap up whatever it is you're doing as soon as possible.
I think I actually
Alright,
used the tone
Junior out.
generator to
What are you
develop
doing?
those sounds, and then I
Wrapping up.
tapped on my
So don't you think we
wristwatch.
should turn around
and-
like right now?
yeah, it's
something
a combination of stuff. Like I said,
shop.
guerrilla audio
Very
drama
tempting.
making.
Do you think they closed up for the day?
Touch screen operation. Now you can hear the music, which was in the background. I was never quite
There's no one
satisfied with the
inside.
music
Do you
for
think
this
it's
scene.
Let's have a look.
Love that door effect.
I didn't know Marcus liked spiderweb patterns on his windows.
I don't think he does.
Ah!
I guess that explains the spider webs.
Kind of cut the beginning of that glass shattering off, so it sounded like it fell instead of breaking.
I'm not sure.
That speeder crash was fun. I was still using the old M3 and jet sounds, and then I had kind of a crowd going, "Ah!" You know, just before the big crash. And
Yeah, why don't you learn to use your brakes?
it was a promising scene, but still needed a little more work.
Looks like a list of
That glass tinkling in the background, I actually used some wind chimes, which got pretty close to it at the right levels to sound like glass being walked in. Alright, so that's it. That's about as far as we got with the project. Sometimes I kind of wish it could have gone further, but, you know, at the same time, it led to me doing DSI files and USS Sasquatch and hopefully many more productions to come. And yeah, so that's it. Couldn't cover too much in there because these scenes are so short, but hopefully that gives you an idea of a little bit of the process I went through. I might actually have to do another commentary on like the writing, or actually what I would like to do is do a commentary with the cast. Fingers crossed that that'll happen. We're kind of spread out over the country right now, and also nearby, but anyway, this has been the director's commentary on Approaching Shady Lair, or ASL as I like to call it, and thank you for listening. Later.